A dying, low-grade octopus beast had been tossed by the roadside. You only glanced at it once, before deciding to contract it as your companion beast. High school students on the street mocked you one after another. The once celebrated genius had awakened with nothing but an F-rank talent. You couldn't be bothered. You took the octopus beast directly into your beast space, because only you could see that the octopus's ancient bloodline compatibility was 90%. Back home, you found the little octopus had grown even weaker. The ancient overlord system bound to your F-rank talent sensed your need, and chimed with a cold mechanical tone. Fuse ancient bloodline. Confirm. With a single flicker of your intent, a drop of extraordinary blood fell into the Spirit Touch Beast's body. Fusion successful. The Spirit Touch Beast bloodline had evolved from a low-grade lineage to a forbidden-grade lineage. The next moment, the Spirit Touch Beast, barely clinging to life just seconds before, began to thrash violently. Its body swelled and expanded, until it stood over 2 meters tall, an octopus-headed, human-bodied monster with bat wings. It was one of the Cthulhu ancient overlord ones. You couldn't help but cry out in shock. Though this Cthulhu was still small, the true Cthulhu stood taller than mountains. A single strike from it could shatter the island of Fusang. But even a small Cthulhu was enough to shake you. A single glance, and countless spirits whispered through your mind, pulling you toward madness. But your F-rank talent quickly took effect, snapping your mind back to clarity. At the same time, the Cthulhu before you slowly lowered its body, as if in submission. Success. You were beside yourself with excitement. You immediately pulled up Cthulhu's information. Name Cthulhu. Title, Lord of Relia, Master of the Spiral Abyss, Great Cthulhu. Talents, Immortality, Regeneration, Immortality. Seeing Cthulhu's talents, you went still. This meant your Cthulhu could never truly die. No less than an ancient overlord one, this fearsome even in infancy. When it reached full maturity, it would be something beyond imagination. As for its element, water, fitting, given Cthulhu's nature. In the Cthulhu mythos, Cthulhu was always a water entity. Most of its kin were aquatic creatures, which made sense. Cthulhu's form was essentially that of a great octopus, and since water had no element that countered it directly, it would never have to worry about elemental disadvantage. Beyond its element, its skills were formidable. Tentacle strike, mass madness. Its affection was also maxed and locked. No chance of betrayal. The only drawback to Cthulhu was the intense mental interference it radiated toward tamers. But your F-rank talent was eldritch. While it offered no direct boosts to beasts, tamers who possessed it had extraordinarily powerful minds, and were completely immune to all mental interference. You and Cthulhu were a perfect match. With Cthulhu at your side, the Grand Beast examination was as good as won. Just then, a voice rang out in your mind. Mission: gain admission to the Imperial Capital Academy. Reward: 1 drop of ancient bloodline. Accept or not. The sight of a second mission made your heart sing. Having just completed the beast bonding mission, you already knew exactly how potent the ancient bloodline was. And while the Imperial Capital Academy was the most elite institution in the nation of Daxia, the kind every genius in the country trying to enter, you had a Cthulhu capable of sweeping the Grand Beast examination. This mission was trivial. Mission accepted. Though the Grand Beast examination hadn't arrived yet, tomorrow there was still a practice exam. You looked at Cthulhu and liked it more the longer you stared. Only when you'd looked your fill did you return it to the beast space. While you celebrated, others suffered. Zhou Yancheng, one of the so-called 4 great geniuses, was in rough shape. Dad, that Li Moran is way out of line. He hit me in front of everyone. He almost left me unable to have children. You have to get revenge for me. Zhou Yancheng sat across from his father, Zhou Wenjiang, crying and sniveling as he poured out his grievances. He had never suffered such humiliation. The Zhou Corporation had the entire city of Yuelin in its pocket, and you were nothing, just an F-rank tamer. Ending you was child's play. Zhou Wenjiang raised a hand, quieting his son. Yancheng, I've always taught you, in big moments keep a cool head. Look at yourself. The moment anger takes over, reason flies out the window. Killing Ali Maran is simple. But what happens after? Yuelin prohibits murder. The moment the Zhou Corporation crosses that line, the governor's office starts asking questions. You know they've been looking for a reason to break up the Zhou Corporation for a long time. You're the heir to this corporation. You can't think only of personal grievances. You have to see the bigger picture. Between eliminating one worthless person and protecting the Zhou Corporation, which matters more? Hearing this, Zhou Yancheng went quiet. He hadn't thought it through that far. After turning it over carefully, he admitted his father was right. Once he understood the stakes, Zhou Yancheng said, I understand, Dad. I won't go after Li Moran. Zhou Wenjiang said, No, you still haven't understood. Yulin prohibits murder, but it has never prohibited accidental death. Zhou Yancheng understood immediately. He thought to himself, Dad is so clever. He said, I get it. As long as I arrange for Li Moran to die in an accident that can't be tied back to the Zhou Corporation. Dad, how should I do it? Tell me. Tomorrow is the practice exam. Skipping it means forfeiting eligibility for the actual exam. The exam is held inside a secret realm, and the place is crawling with spirit beasts. An F-rank tamer running into an accident there would be completely normal, wouldn't it? Zhou Yancheng's spirits soared, but then a concern hit him. Dad, what if Li Moran doesn't show up? Then he'd be assigned to the mines. He'd be living worse than dead before you even had to lift a finger. The next day you arrived at school. Most people gave you a wide berth. Their looks were equal parts contempt and unease. Awakening with an F-rank talent had earned you plenty of scorn. But your decision to beat Zhou Yancheng senseless at the awakening ceremony the day before had also genuinely frightened people. Everyone assumed the pressure had broken you, that you'd given up on yourself. Why else would you dare touch Zhou Yancheng? Jiang Yurong made her way to you as always, a trace of worry in her eyes. She said, Moran. At the sight of her, your expression softened. You said, Morning, Sister Ru. Just then a sharp bird call drew everyone's attention, followed by Lin Jiang, the lowest ranked of the 4 great geniuses, strutting up to you with an insufferable grin. Li Moran, this spirit child sparrow of mine is a high-grade bloodline beast. Young Master Zhou paid 800,000 gold coins for it as a gift to me. Don't even think about being jealous. Oh, right. You're F-rank talent. Being jealous wouldn't do you any good anyway. You can't contract beasts at this level. Ha ha ha. Zhou Yancheng walked over as well, adding his own cold mockery. An F-rank waste actually had the nerve to come to the exam today. Aren't you afraid to die? Your gaze cooled. You said flatly, what? Haven't had enough of a lesson yet. Want another beating? Zhou Yancheng immediately flinched. That look nearly sent him into a panic response, but he caught himself quickly. The bastard. Yesterday I didn't have my beast, so I let him push me around. Today I have my beast. If I let him push me around again, what's the point of having it? Zhou Yancheng's face twisted with fury. I've already contracted the top-tier tiger beast, the heaven-burning flame tiger. You still think you're a match for me? And before the words were even out, he summoned it. A tiger nearly 1 meter long, its entire body wreathed in flame, appeared before the crowd. Still a cub, yet it already carried the bearing of a sovereign. A single tiger's roar sent no small number of people's faces pale. What a magnificent beast. That's the Zhou Corporation's heir for you. A beast like that doesn't come cheap. Market price is at least 4 million gold coins, I believe. Zhou Yancheng reveled in the murmuring. He looked down at you and said, well, my heaven-burning flame tiger is an epic-grade bloodline beast. Even as a cub, tearing you apart would be trivial. He'd expected to see fear on your face, enough to humiliate you thoroughly, enough to win back yesterday's dignity, but you were completely unmoved. The flame tiger was impressive, sure, but compared to Cthulhu, it was in an entirely different class. You really think one tiger is enough to frighten me? The sheer contempt in your expression sent Zhou Yancheng's fury surging. Had it not been forbidden to fight on school grounds, he would have already sent the flame tiger to tear you apart. He said, keep talking. Come the practice exam, I'd advise you not to beg me for mercy on your knees. Just then, a sharp, piercing cry rang out over the entirety of Qingyue High School. Lu Jinghong, ranked second among the 4 great geniuses, descended slowly aboard a breathtaking giant bird. The moment she appeared, every eye in the school turned. What is that? Is that the golden-feathered divine phoenix? My god, that's a sacred beast from the legends. Lu Jinghong actually contracted a sacred beast cub. I'm calling it. Lu Jinghong is the strongest genius in Qingyu High School. Lu Jinghong's arrival completely eclipsed Zhou Yancheng. Next to her, his heaven-burning flame tiger looked like a sickly house cat, and Lin Jiang's spirit child sparrow was so terrified it let out a series of frightened chirps, and immediately buried itself in Lin Jiang's arms, playing dead, trembling all over, refusing to show its face. Even you couldn't resist quietly activating the great eye to check the golden-feathered divine phoenix's information. Name: golden-feathered divine phoenix. Race: divine emperor clan. Element: fire and gold. Bloodline: sovereign. Before long, Lu Jinghong touched down and withdrew the divine phoenix. But the astonishment she had stirred hadn't faded in the slightest. Just then, an elderly man walked over at a leisurely pace. He was in a fine mood. A smile never left his face. It was Zhao Deli, the principal of Qingyu High School. This school year truly has been full of exceptional talent, especially Lu Jinghong, who awakened an SS-rank beast talent. It's a shame that Li Moran, generally considered our best, turned out to be a disappointment, but the others have performed well enough. There's a real chance the school sends a few candidates to the Imperial Capital Academy this year. If so, his career as principal would be complete. Alright students, attention, the practice exam is about to begin. Please gather according to your class positions. I'll announce the examination rules. At that, everyone moved into formation. This practice exam serves as the qualifying test for the Grand Beast examination. Only those who pass the practice exam may proceed to the Grand Beast examination. The practice exam will take place inside the UA Spirit City secret realm. You will enter the realm alongside candidates from other schools. The realm contains a large number of low-grade spirit beasts. Your goal is to defeat these beasts and allow your contracted beast to grow. Once your beast enters the growth stage, you pass. The realm will remain open for 2 days. Please be mindful of the time. A wave of eager energy moved through the crowd. In this world, beasts grow by defeating all kinds of spirit beasts and absorbing the spiritual essence released from them, known as spirit power. The measure of a beast's strength is the amount of spirit power it holds. Of course, a beast's spirit power is not fixed. It fluctuates with emotional and physical state, but generally stays within a consistent range. For a beast to advance from the infant stage to the growth stage, it typically needs to accumulate more than 1,000 points of spirit power. The stronger the beast, the more it needs. You wondered how much Cthulhu would need. The anticipation was building. The principal's voice continued. Alright everyone, follow me to the secret realm. A fleet of coaches was already waiting outside the school. Each class filed on board and set off toward the realm together. It wasn't long before they arrived at the entrance. A long queue had already formed. Students packed in from multiple schools. Yuwelin had several high schools but only one realm. The crowds were inevitable. You stood at the front of Class 1's line. Class 2's line was directly beside you. Lu Jinghong stood at the front of Class 2. She looked as cool and distant as ever. The queue inched forward, until you finally reached the entrance. Lu Jinghong suddenly turned and said, "Li Moran, I'll allow you to team up with me for this exam." You turned with a look of surprise. You smiled. What made the great Lu Jinghong feel like extending an invitation? Lu Jinghong said evenly, "For 3 years of high school I pushed myself relentlessly trying to keep up with you. Now your future is gone. I'm offering you a hand. From this point on, we no longer belong to the same world." It was a cool thing to say, and a proud one. That was simply who she was. But those words sat badly with you. This wasn't help. It was charity, wrapped in pity. You said coldly, "No need. I don't want your charity." Before she could respond, you stepped past her and walked directly into the realm. A flicker of disappointment crossed Lu Jinghong's eyes. Someone who can't accept their own weakness is destined never to grow strong. Since you can't recognize what's good for you, don't expect me to step in when things go wrong. A flash of light, and you appeared somewhere entirely unfamiliar. A forest, quiet and peaceful in appearance, but the occasional savage roar in the distance made clear what kind of place this was. Random placement. Perfect. Better not to expose Cthulhu's identity too soon. The moment Cthulhu appeared in front of others, the reaction would be beyond excessive. You couldn't hide it forever, of course. But before the Grand Beast examination, the longer you kept it concealed the better. No point becoming everyone's target. You had barely taken a few steps before you heard a rustling sound. A transparent snake-like creature, its veins and skeleton faintly visible beneath the skin, came slithering your way. Its scarlet forked tongue flickered, but its appearance was oddly cute, seemingly harmless. A phantom spirit serpent. You recognized it immediately. Don't let the adorable appearance fool you. Its venom was extraordinarily potent. A bite could mean anything from full-body tissue decay at minimum, to death outright at worst. The phantom spirit serpent was still sizing you up with evident curiosity, acting almost like it was trying to coax you closer. Smart enough, in its way. But the trick wasn't going to work. With a single thought, you summoned Cthulhu. Great Cthulhu descended, a 2-meter-tall monstrosity, octopus head, human body, bat wings, landing beside you. A vast curtain of black mist rose to surround you both, obscuring everything from the outside. The moment Cthulhu appeared, the phantom spirit serpent lost its nerve entirely. It shook from head to tail, all of that endearing playfulness gone in an instant, and turned to flee at full speed. But Cthulhu had no intention of letting it. A long tentacle shot out like a crack of lightning, and coiled around the phantom spirit serpent. A single squeeze, and the serpent burst into a spray of blood mist. That was Cthulhu. Genuinely impressive. The phantom spirit serpent was a weak spirit beast, but it was fast. Actually killing one typically required real effort. Cthulhu settled it with one tentacle. After the serpent died, a stream of light rose from its body and flowed into Cthulhu. Cthulhu defeated level 1 phantom spirit serpent, gained 10 spirit power. 10 spirit power for one serpent. If it needs 1,000 to advance, that's 100 serpents. This is painfully slow. Just then, a message from the system arrived. Cthulhu's current growth stage 10. Reach 10,000 to advance. 10,000? Cthulhu needs 10,000 points to advance? That's 10 times more than other beasts. Your face went green. Not 100 serpents. 1,000. Which means at this rate, killing nothing but phantom spirit serpents. You'd need to kill 500 per day just to level it up. You were close to tears. Fine. Cthulhu is basically invincible in this place anyway. Just cut a path straight through. With that thought, you picked up the pace. Cthulhu defeated level 2 Gale Wolf, gained 20 spirit power. Cthulhu defeated level 2 Ironclaw Leopard, gained 23 spirit power. Wild spirit beasts were different from contracted beasts. They had distinct level rankings, from level 1 at the bottom to level 99 at the top. Different levels corresponded to different beast growth stages. Levels 1 through 10 were roughly equivalent in power to a contracted beast in its infant stage, and this realm wasn't limited to creatures below level 10. Deeper inside, level 10 and above beasts actually appeared, significantly stronger and far more aggressive. They had even been marked with warnings, specifically to keep candidates from venturing there, which was, of course, a warning for other people. As for you, obviously you were heading straight in. You kept moving deeper into the realm, cutting down everything in your path. Beasts at level 1 and 2 gave barely anything. At this rate, Cthulhu would never advance. If you don't push deeper, you might not even finish the exam. You pushed forward without stopping. Cthulhu defeated level 4 Windblade Wolf, gained 48% spirit power. Cthulhu defeated level 5 Twinclaw Bear, gained 56 spirit power. Cthulhu defeated level 7 Flametail Lizard, gained 78 spirit power. Every spirit beast you encountered was killed by Cthulhu. A flick of a tentacle was all it took. Those appendages moved like whips, smashing each beast to pieces. Not one left a complete corpse. Combat was blunt and absolute, requiring no technique whatsoever. All you had to do was watch and cheer, no less than an ancient one. Even in infancy, this formidable. The spirit beast didn't stand a chance. About 2 or 3 hours in, you received a warning. You were now in the deep zone of the realm. Extremely dangerous. Leave immediately. The rune in your palm flashed pale yellow, urging you to turn back. Turn back because a system told me to? Wouldn't that make me look like a total pushover? You step forward deliberately, deeper into the realm, Cthulhu at your side. On the other side of the realm. Still haven't found him? He's just one Li Moran. It's not like he can fly. Zhou Yancheng had been combing the realm with a group of followers, looking for you everywhere. They had swept the outer area multiple times without a single trace. Zhou Yancheng was furious. He had watched you enter with his own eyes. His plan had been to kill you in the realm and blame it on a spirit beast, but he couldn't find you anywhere. One follower spoke up, voice shaking. Boss Joe, you think maybe he went deeper? A few others chimed in. We've covered the whole outer area and nothing. He's not here. There's nowhere else he could be except for the deeper realm. Hearing this, Zhou Yancheng's expression soured at that. Li Moran, an F-rank waste, actually pushed into the deep zone? Is he out of his mind? At that moment, one of his subordinates came running up. Boss, I found Li Moran. Zhou Yancheng's face lit up. Where? He went deeper. This direction. The subordinate pointed toward where you had gone. Zhou Yancheng's expression turned thunderous. That worthless fool really does have a death wish. Come on. Even if he went deep, I'm going to kill him with my own hands. The subordinate started to say something else. Boss, he seemed to have a really powerful beast with him. But Zhou Yancheng was already moving, dragging the others along before the subordinate could finish. The subordinate was left standing there, not knowing what to do. At that moment you sneezed. Who was missing you? You looked over at Cthulhu with a blank expression. It extended several tentacles. A series of sharp cracks rang out, and a few more spirit beasts met their end. Cthulhu defeated level 9 Magnathorn Ram, gained 99 spirit power. Several more notifications followed. Cthulhu had gained a decent amount. Only level 9? Seems I still haven't gone deep enough. Need to push further. You check Cthulhu's growth status. Growth stage had reached 3,476, a third of the way there. At this pace, another full day of hunting should be enough. Most of today had been spent in the outer area. It had taken a long time to reach the deep zone, so a lot of potential spirit power was wasted. Otherwise, the total would have been much higher. The sun was going down now. As you walked forward, you spotted several Magnathorn rams lying on the ground, bodies bloodied. Magnathorn rams looked similar to mountain goats, but their horns resembled magnets, capable of attracting most metal objects and even wielding them as weapons. You weren't interested in any of that. You'd heard that Magnathorn ram meat was supposed to be delicious, and it was getting to be evening. Might as well rest here. With that, you got to work. From the beast's space, you retrieved a small knife and some clean water. You butchered carefully, trimming the choicest cut from the meat. Then you gathered firewood, built a fire and skewered the strips. Seasoning on, set over the flame's slow roast. Your technique was solid. Magnathorn ram had none of the gamey smell of ordinary mutton. Fat sizzled and spat as it cooked. Before long, it was done. You took a bite. Richly fragrant, full of juice. Beside you, Cthulhu let out a strange sound. You turned to find several of its tentacles swaying gently. You want some too? You passed it a piece of ram meat. Cthulhu didn't mind the heat at all. It curled a tentacle around the meat and swallowed it whole. While you were both eating heartily, several figures were closing in. There's a fire. Someone's over there. Let's go. The sound caught your attention. You turned to find several people rushing toward you, flashlights in hand. You recognized the one in the middle immediately. When he saw you, Zhou Yancheng nearly burst with glee. Ha! Li Moran, you thought running to the deep zone would mean I couldn't find you? I've got you now. Nowhere left to run. You tossed your skewer back onto the fire and wiped the grease from your mouth. You said run? Why would I run? Zhou Yancheng said. If you're not running, then today's the day you die. You said you came here to kill me? Heh, don't you know killing is prohibited inside the city? Zhou Yancheng said with great satisfaction. Of course I know, but accidental death inside the city isn't against the law. There's only you, no one around. As long as I make it look like you were killed by a spirit beast, no one will ever know it was me. At that, something clicked in you. Oh, really? You're quite clever, Zhou Yancheng. Zhou Yancheng burst out laughing at that. Glad you see it. My father has always praised my mind, a nearby follower pointed out quietly. Boss Zhou, he's calling you an idiot, just sideways. Zhou Yancheng stopped laughing. Rage flooded his face. How dare you? Li Moran, you died today. Heaven-burning flame tiger, get him! With an eruption of fury, Zhou Yancheng summoned the flame tiger, but the moment it appeared, the formidable heaven-burning flame tiger began to tremble uncontrollably, overwhelmed by terror, as though it had laid eyes on something unspeakable. Zhou Yancheng was stunned. Flame tiger, what's wrong with you? Get up there, tear this waste apart. The flame tiger didn't advance. Instead, it sank trembling to the ground, and let out a small, pitiful sound, barely a meow. The whole group stared in disbelief. You laughed coldly. Your tiger doesn't seem to want to go. How about I go instead? A single black tentacle shot out like lightning, and coiled around the heaven-burning flame tiger. One squeeze, and the tiger was shredded apart. An epic-grade bloodline beast, and it never even had the chance to cry out. Zhou Yancheng looked on in horror. What was that? No, my flame tiger. Boss, look at Li Moran's beast. Only then did the group see it, a massive creature standing beside you, wreathed from head to tail in black mist, octopus tentacles extending in all directions. What kind of monster is that? Zhou Yancheng and his followers felt their scalps go numb. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. The creature in front of them filled them with a dread that went straight to the bone. You let a cold, slightly wicked smile curl at the corner of your mouth. You said, since you went to all this trouble to come kill me, you can die here instead. Then you directed Cthulhu to activate mass madness. Waves of sound radiated outward in all directions. Zhou Yancheng and his followers felt their bodies stop responding entirely. Their eyes filled with horror. They opened their mouths to speak, and couldn't produce a single word. Then even their eyes went blank. One by one, all of them began to chant. Words like verses from some prayer, like devoted worshippers in a trance. They swayed and flailed. Seconds later, they turned on each other. About half a minute later, a light rose from each of their bodies. Their forms dissolved, they came apart, and faded into nothing, as though they had never existed. Successful sacrifice, 7 humans. Your Cthulhu has gained a small amount of fear faith. Fear faith? What was that? The system answered quickly. Please cultivate Cthulhu to its complete form as soon as possible to unlock additional functions. So you'd find out when it reached full form. Fine, figure it out later. You shook your head and put it aside. The sacrifice of Zhou Yancheng and the others left you without a shred of guilt. He had come to kill you first. If you were still the F-rank Tamer you used to be, today would have been your death. There was no way you were letting Zhou Yancheng walk away, and the realm had no surveillance. Once they were sacrificed, nothing remained. No one would ever know it was you. You put out the campfire and left with Cthulhu. A piercing shriek rang out. Golden flames erupted again and again. Several bird-type spirit beasts were swallowed up by the blaze. Golden Feathered Divine Phoenix defeated level 7 Scarlet Feathered Bird, gained 76 spirit power. Golden Feathered Divine Phoenix defeated level 8 Icecrest Sparrow, gained 88 spirit power. 2 notifications landed. A small smile touched the lips of Lu Jinghong, seated atop the Divine Phoenix. Do a good job. She had been carving through everything in her path and had reached the deep zone as well. Lu Jinghong looked up as the dark settled in. Already evening. Time to find somewhere to rest. She scanned the area from the Phoenix's back. Before long, she spotted a clearing. This will do. We'll rest here tonight. She directed the Phoenix to land. The two of them touched down without incident. Lu Jinghong was just about to withdraw the Divine Phoenix when she stopped. The golden feathered Divine Phoenix had begun to tremble. A look of unmistakable fear had come over it. Lu Jinghong was startled. What's wrong? The Phoenix pulled its wings in and wrapped them around itself, shaking even harder. Lu Jinghong checked its status immediately. The abnormality appeared at once. Affected by residual intense mental interference. Combat ability lost. Residual mental interference. What was that? Had a powerful spirit beast been here? But the golden feathered Divine Phoenix carried sovereign grade bloodline. If even it was this frightened, then whatever creature had passed through here carried overlord grade bloodline at the absolute minimum, possibly mythic grade. Lu Jinghong's face went pale. Her expression shifted into something close to shock. A overlord grade creature couldn't exist in a beginner realm. This had to be someone's contracted beast. Is there a genius in Yuelin I've never heard of? You could see this scene, you'd probably look completely innocent. Lu Jinghong had stopped right where you had made your kills. It seemed the golden-feathered, divine phoenix had been rattled by the mental residue left behind by Cthulhu's mass madness. Cthulhu was an ancient overlord one of the greatest presences in the known universe. Even mythic-grade beasts held no standing before it, let alone sovereign grade. Before the true Cthulhu, an ordinary person who caught even a single glance would be lost to madness. Lu Jinghong looked at the trembling phoenix, uncertain what to do. Fortunately, mental residue dispersed quickly. About a minute later, the phoenix's trembling faded. It called out twice, and finally returned to normal. Lu Jinghong let out a breath of relief, and immediately pulled it close. The phoenix called back as if to say, "I'm sorry for worrying you." Lu Jinghong shook her head. "This isn't your fault. I just didn't expect to find a beast this powerful here." The thought of it made her restlessness from moments ago vanish entirely. In its place was something that looked unmistakably like excitement. Lu Jinghong murmured, "My father always said there is always someone better. Now I see it firsthand. After Li Moran's fall, I thought there was no one in the city left who could truly interest me. Now it seems there is. Lu Jinghong, I have never allowed myself to be weaker than anyone. Whoever you are, I will find you, and then I will surpass you." She looked carefully around the clearing, and found a campfire, recently extinguished. Several Magnathorn ram carcasses nearby. Signs of a camp, already cleared away, but the traces were there. From what she saw, she was certain the owner hadn't gone far. "Let's go." She set off with the Divine Phoenix in the direction you had taken. A sharp beast's howl rang out, followed by a spray of blood mist. Cthulhu defeated level 14 Saber-Tooth Wolf, gained 189 spirit power. You had cut through a long trail of spirit beasts since leaving. Night had fully fallen by now. Had it gotten that late already? You stretched and lay back on Cthulhu. After watching it fight for hours, the fatigue was real. Time to rest. Back to it tomorrow. With that thought, you climbed off and started setting up camp. Before long, a simple tent stood in the clearing. You gathered firewood and lit it. Once everything was ready, you returned Cthulhu to the beast space. Then something nearby caught your attention. You frowned slightly, raising your hand to summon Cthulhu, then stopped when you recognized the figure approaching. "Is that you?" Lu Jinghong's brow furrowed slightly. She had come looking for the mysterious genius, and found you instead. "What are you doing here? An F-rank Tamer, alone in the deep zone. Do you actually want to die?" She looked around, genuinely puzzled to find you had set up a camp. You were equally surprised. Small world. You're quite something, Lu Jinghong. You actually pushed all the way into the deep zone too. Lu Jinghong had no patience for small talk. She cut straight to it. "Li Moran, I'm asking you something. Have you seen an extremely powerful tamer nearby? Their beast should be mental type." My golden feathered divine phoenix was terrified by the residual mental energy from their beast. A mental type beast in this place? The only thing remotely like that was Cthulhu. Was the divine phoenix frightened by Cthulhu? Mass madness was indeed a mental type skill, and it could leave behind mental residue. Your expression turned distinctly odd. Could she be talking about Cthulhu? You weighed whether to summon it, then you decided against it. Lu Jinghong loved hunting down the strong. Let her keep looking. You were curious to see exactly when she'd figure out it was you. so you said without hesitation, don't ask me. I don't know. I didn't see anyone. That flat, decisive denial annoyed Lu Jinghong, but she had no interest in pressing you. She gave a cold huff and turned to leave. A few steps out, she turned back. I'd advise you to leave the realm as soon as possible. With your talent, staying here is just waiting to die. You had dominated her for 3 years. You had been the person she drove herself relentlessly to surpass. Your fall from grace didn't mean she wanted to watch you go out pathetically. That would make 3 years of chasing you look like a joke. You said calmly, worry about yourself. You don't know what's good for you. You'll regret this. Another well-meaning warning ignored. A flicker of real irritation crossed Lu Jinghong's mind. She resolved to leave you to your own choices. She walked away with the divine phoenix and quickly disappeared. You shook your head, went into the tent, laid out the sleeping bag, and settled in for a proper night's rest. Then a piercing cry cut through the air and jolted you wide awake. You stepped out of the tent and stopped. Lu Jinghong was riding the golden-feathered divine phoenix straight up into the sky. She had barely gotten airborne when several massive eagles burst from the tree line and began swarming the phoenix. You recognized them immediately. Iron-winged giant eagles. The iron-winged giant eagle was a brutal species of spirit beast in a beginner realm. Even the lowest leveled ones were above level 15. Some reached level 18 or 19. The golden-feathered divine phoenix had extraordinary bloodline, but it was still in infancy, with limited raw strength. It had no way to hold off iron-winged giant eagles, especially not several of them at once. The phoenix let out a wretched cry. Golden feathers were torn away. Lu Jinghong couldn't maintain her balance in the air. With a scream, she fell. A fall from that height would kill her outright with her physique. How did she manage to get herself into this? You had no time to think. You summoned Cthulhu immediately. You had it grab you with a tentacle and launch toward her. Cthulhu's black mist surged outward, enveloping you both, as it closed the distance at a speed that defied reason. In the blink of an eye, you were directly below Lu Jinghong. Several tentacles shot up like lightning, and punched clean through the iron-winged giant eagles. Cthulhu defeated level 15 iron-winged giant eagle, gained 280 spirit power. Cthulhu defeated level 16 iron-winged giant eagle, gained 320 spirit power. Cthulhu notifications registered in your ear, but you had no attention to spare. You directed Cthulhu, which extended a tentacle, and caught Lu Jinghong squarely before she hit the ground, setting her down gently. The golden-feathered divine phoenix dove to protect its master, then seemed to see something that stopped it cold. It wrapped its wings around itself and began to tremble violently. Lu Jinghong forced her eyes open and looked around in a daze. She said, I'm fine, what's the matter with you? She turned to find the phoenix trembling again and was alarmed. Then she turned further and saw something she would never forget. A creature over 2 meters tall. Octopus head, human body, bat wings wrapped entirely in black mist. Standing beside it was a figure whose features were obscured by the dark haze. The creature radiated waves of intense mental interference in every direction. Lu Jinghong only glanced at it for a moment, and felt her mind go sideways. She was almost dragged into madness. She jerked her gaze away immediately. Her expression was beyond stunned. Lu Jinghong knew. This was the genius she had been searching for. You said with no small amount of irritation, where did 3 years of schooling go? Night is when iron-winged giant eagles are most active. You still decided to go airborne. Are you actually trying to get yourself killed? The words carried through Cthulhu's mist, and came out strangely ethereal, almost otherworldly, combined with the black fog obscuring you. Lu Jinghong had absolutely no idea it was you. She was genuinely rattled by the reprimand. She pressed her lips together, then quickly composed herself. She didn't know this person. Who were they to lecture her? Lu Jinghong slowly stood, jaw set. Her expression carried a flicker of something wounded, quickly pressed down. I am grateful for saving my life, but I make my own decisions. This was the genius she was meant to surpass. She refused to show weakness in front of them. You were almost amused by her. Still making your own decisions, are you? If I hadn't happened to notice in time, falling from that height would have killed you for certain. That's not being reckless. That's what it is? Lu Jinghong turned her head away and refused to say anything. Refused to give an inch. Seeing this, you let out a sigh. 3 years of high school. You knew this girl's stubbornness went right to the bone. You said without warmth, fine, do whatever you want. If something goes wrong again, don't say I didn't warn you. You were already turning to leave, when Lu Jinghong suddenly called out, wait, you turned back, impatient. What is it? Please, tell me which school you're from, and your name. Lu Jinghong repays her debts. I won't forget that you saved my life. At that, your expression went through something quite interesting. You said, you can't tell who I am? Lu Jinghong blinked. But with the mist wrapped around you, she could barely make out a silhouette. She shook her head. That was when you realized. You had been standing close to Cthulhu, and its mist had enveloped you too. Since Cthulhu was your contracted beast, the black fog didn't obscure your own vision. But to Lu Jinghong's eyes, you had become an entirely mysterious figure. And surely she could recognize my voice? You quickly realized that your voice traveling through the mist had probably changed as well. No wonder she was standing this close and still hadn't recognized you. The thought gave rise to a certain mischievous impulse. Consider it a small lesson for Lu Jinghong's poor judgment. You said you may call me father. As for my school, you don't need to know. When the grand beast examination comes, my identity will reveal itself. Then you turned, smooth and unhurried, and walked away with Cthulhu. Father. The strange title lingered in Lu Jinghong's mind. Something felt off, she couldn't place it. But watching your silhouette disappear into the dark, a fierce surge of determination rose in her. She said, Father, you have the upper hand now, but I will close the gap step by step. I will repay what I owe you. and then I will defeat you. Lu Jinghong has never allowed herself to be weaker than anyone. You walked away, trying not to smile. This was so much like the 3 years of high school. Back then, Lu Jinghong had declared war on you in exactly this way. You couldn't help wondering when she realized that the person she had been so obsessively chasing was still you, what her face would look like at the Grand Beast examination. You thought quietly to yourself, 3 years ago you were chasing my footsteps. 3 years from now you'll be chasing them still. After you left, the golden-feathered divine phoenix's trembling gradually ceased. It looked up at Lu Jinghong's call, its expression deeply, unmistakably aggrieved. A sovereign-grade bloodline beast, reduced to the helplessness of a small bird. Lu Jinghong stroked its feathers. Don't be scared. Trust me, one day we will surpass that person. You are my beast. You cannot be weaker than others, just the same as I cannot. The phoenix gave her a very peculiar look. If Lu Jinghong could have read it, she might have understood what the phoenix was trying to say. You fool, if you're going to court death, please leave me out of it. If the golden-feathered divine phoenix hadn't wrapped itself in its own wings just in time, it would have already lost its mind. The next morning, you set out with Cthulhu and resumed your trail of slaughter. The growth progress had passed the halfway mark. A few more hours of hunting should be enough to trigger the advancement. You sat on Cthulhu's back and let it carry you forward. Suddenly, a tentacle exploded outward like lightning. A three-eyed leopard cat that had barely registered something was wrong was killed on the spot. Cthulhu defeated level 16 three-eyed leopard cat, gained 268 spirit power. The spirit beasts in the deep zone were high level and formidable. But however formidable, they were nowhere near Cthulhu's class. No beast dared show itself wherever Cthulhu passed. Its tentacles moved with blinding speed, practically lightning, and could extend for over 100 meters. Unless a beast was watching, from several hundred meters away, there was no escaping. If anyone had seen this, they would have been furious. They were out there grinding through spirit beasts one by one with painstaking effort, while you lay there lounging, letting your beast handle everything. Deeply unfair. Hours passed. Cthulhu killed another spirit beast. A chime rang out. Your beast Cthulhu has met the conditions, entering the growth stage. A surge of excitement. Finally, you noticed the change in Cthulhu almost immediately. The black mist surrounding it thickened dramatically. Its presence intensified. Its mental attacks grew overwhelmingly powerful. Spirit beasts within hundreds of meters began to tremble and scatter in all directions. Cthulhu's body expanded too. From 2 meters it grew steadily, rounding out to nearly 3 meters tall. A few minutes later, your beast Cthulhu had successfully entered the growth stage. Its skill mass madness grew stronger, with a chance to convert targets into fanatical devotees. Its skill tentacle strike grew stronger too. Range extended to 200 meters. Cthulhu unlocked a new skill, summon servants. Deep ones. Reading the sequence of notifications, you were buzzing with excitement. Deep ones already. The star spawn couldn't be far behind. Cthulhu had more than one kind of servant. As a devoted fan of Cthulhu mythos fiction, you knew Cthulhu inside and out. Its abilities, its servants, its avatars. You had the whole mythology practically memorized. You were curious how the deep ones summoned here would compare to their mythological counterparts. You immediately ordered Cthulhu to summon them. A strange sound rang out. The ground beneath Cthulhu shifted. The earth dissolved into a pool of black water. One by one, fish-headed humanoid figures emerged from the depths, nearly 2 meters tall, powerfully built, 10 in total. Cthulhu's servants, the deep ones. They appeared and fell prostrate before Cthulhu, murmuring prayers in low voices. Every bit the zealous worshippers. Their appearance alone was satisfying enough. You continued reading the Deep One's information. Deep One, Level 1, direct kin of Cthulhu, possesses underwater breathing and immortality. Impressive. Even better than you'd imagined. You were very happy. The Deep One's special abilities weren't something ordinary summons could match. There was a quantity limit, but that was no problem. Time to see just how capable they were in combat. You issued the command. All 10 Deep Ones dispersed rapidly throughout the realm. Their figures vanished quickly from sight, but Cthulhu could track every one of them at all times. As Cthulhu's master, you naturally shared that sight. 2 of them had wandered into the territory of a great earth bear, a formidable spirit beast of unmatched physical power. Even at just over 10 levels, it could flatten a tree with one swipe. Under your watch, the 2 Deep Ones moved from left and right, circling the great earth bear with surprising agility. Their claws repeatedly slashed open its hide. Then they closed in and clamped on, tearing into its flesh. After a few minutes, the great earth bear let out a dying moan and fell. You were impressed. They weren't as powerful as Cthulhu, but they were strong enough. A creature that size, brought down in minutes. Cthulhu defeated level 15 Great Earth Bear, gained 336 spirit power. Kills made by the Deep Ones counted toward Cthulhu too. Made sense. They were its kin. The remaining Deep Ones found their own prey just as quickly. After a round of fighting, each of them had made their kill. Before long, Cthulhu had accumulated a solid amount of spirit power. Satisfied with what you'd seen, you disconnected from the Deep One's perspective. While they spread out hunting in every direction, you continued deeper into the realm with Cthulhu. You'd already cleared the exam objective, but the realm wasn't closed yet. Every extra point of spirit power was worth having. A stronger Cthulhu meant more confidence come the Grand Beast examination. Then a notification arrived. 1 Deep One had been killed. Wait, killed? You were genuinely startled. The Deep Ones were capable of holding their own against level 17 or 18 spirit beasts. What had taken one out? You linked into Cthulhu's awareness immediately, and pulled up the feed from the fallen Deep One. It had gone extremely far, all the way to the furthest reaches of the realm. There, it had come across a pack of massive black wolves. The largest were nearly 3 meters long, the smallest over 2. There were 30 to 50 of them. The moment the Deep One spotted the pack spotted it. Dozens of wolves charged at once. The poor Deep One didn't stand a chance and was killed outright. You recognized them immediately. Obsidian giant wolves. The obsidian giant wolf was an extraordinarily powerful spirit beast, several times the size of an ordinary wild wolf. Both its speed and strength were exceptional, and most critically, it was a pack species. They always moved in groups. Small packs numbered over 10, large ones ran into the dozens or even hundreds. A single obsidian giant wolf was a nightmare for most novice tamers. A full pack was another matter entirely. The deep zone really was dangerous. That many of them. Anyone else would have turned and run. But you looked at the scene with cold, sharp eyes. You dare kill my kin. If they thought Cthulhu had no temper, they'd be learning their lesson now. You marched with Cthulhu straight toward the wolf pack's territory. It didn't take long to arrive. Long, haunting howls rose and fell through the air. The pack sensed your approach immediately. A chorus of low growls warning you off. So many wolves. I wonder how much spirit power they're all worth. A cold smile pulled at the corner of your mouth. Cthulhu's mist began to spread outward, and the howling cut off sharply. The wolves seemed to feel something was wrong and bristled all at once. At your command, Cthulhu moved. Mass madness unleashed. A deep, thrumming resonance rolled outward in all directions, followed by a twisted, dangerous mental wave, like a vast net cast over the entire pack of obsidian giant wolves. The wolves were thrown into chaos. Strange sounds erupted from them, and their movements turned erratic and bizarre. Then the pack began attacking one another. Cthulhu defeated level 17 obsidian giant wolf, gained 389 spirit power. Cthulhu defeated level 18 obsidian giant wolf, gained 428 spirit power. One by one, the obsidian giant wolves fell to each other. A stream of sharp, brilliant light poured into Cthulhu. And the strangest part, you and Cthulhu hadn't moved a muscle. You simply stood there and watched. These obsidian giant wolves were killing each other, yet the spirit power was all going to Cthulhu. Anyone who witnessed this would have been speechless. About half an hour later, the last obsidian giant wolf dropped. You finally allowed yourself a satisfied smile. A fine show, though not quite as entertaining as Zhou Yancheng's performance. The wolves left no remains. Their bodies had been sacrificed. You didn't give it a second thought. You moved on with Cthulhu, continuing your massacre. Outside the realm, candidates had begun trickling back through. The simulation exam was only 2 days, but for many of those inside, every hour had felt like a year. The students coming out were either in tattered clothes or covered in blood. Not one of them was unscathed, but every pair of eyes gleamed with excitement. This had been their first real battle, and an experience they would carry for the rest of their lives. No one became a worthy tamer without it. Every time a candidate emerged, a teacher came forward to scan their beast space and confirm whether their beast had entered the growth stage. The vast majority had passed and were cleared for the Grand Beast examination. A small number had not. They wore expressions of quiet devastation, and no one could say what awaited them. A long, resonant cry rang across the sky. Lu Jinghong descended atop the golden-feathered divine phoenix from the realm and touched down in the Qingyue High School's designated area. Her arrival immediately drew every eye. Wow, look at that beast. Is that a golden-feathered divine phoenix? I read about it in a textbook. If it reaches the chaos stage, it can become a sacred beast. That must be Lu Jinghong from Qingyue High. Word is she awakened an SS-ranked talent. Qingyue High is having quite the year. Qingyue High's principal Zhao Deli listened to the murmuring around him and never stopped smiling. Standing nearby were the principals from the surrounding schools. Haha, strange thing. I never said a word in public. How does everyone already know that Qingyue High produced an SSS rank beast tamer? Ha ha ha. Principal Wu, what do you think? Does real talent just make itself known everywhere it goes? Seeing Zhao Deli's insufferably smug expression, one principal's teeth were grinding, but there was nothing to be done. Qingyue High was simply lucky. Just as the others were clenching their fists, barely holding back from hitting him, Zhao Deli jogged happily over to Lu Jinghong and said, "Miss Lu, how did it go?" Lu Jinghong said evenly, "Thank you for asking, Principal. Ha ha ha, I knew the simulation would be nothing for you." At that moment, a nearby exam official walked over. "Miss, please come register over here." Lu Jinghong nodded and went to fill in the forms. Several principals crowded around to watch. The transfer token each candidate carried recorded the number of spirit beasts they had defeated. That was how the simulation exam scores were calculated. Zhao Deli turned to the principals nearby with a sly grin. "I wonder, gentlemen, how many spirit beasts do you think my Miss Lu managed to take down?" The moment he opened his mouth, the others got even more irritated. Principal Wu said sourly, Plenty of nothing, I'd wager. High talent doesn't automatically mean high combat effectiveness. The current kill record for Yulin City simulation exam was set by someone with just an S-rank talent." The other principals chimed in. "How many did that person get again?" 300 and something, I believe. 351 specifically. A few SS-ranked tamers came through ULN after that, but none of them broke the record. Speaking of which, wasn't that record holder from your school, Principal Wu? Principal Wu straightened proudly. "Of course. I was just chatting with him last week. He's contracted his third beast now. His most powerful one has already reached the awakened stage." Several principals let out impressed sounds. A beast in the awakened stage already had the beginnings of devastating power. Those with that kind of strength could be counted on one hand across the whole of Yulin. Zhao Deli saw the attention shift to Principal Wu and huffed with puffed-up irritation. Just wait. That record might just get broken today by one of mine." Just then, Lu Jinghong finished her registration. Her spirit beast kill count was announced. Qingyue High, Lu Jinghong, spirit beast kills, 589. Every principal stared, especially Principal Wu. He had been boasting about his students' record barely a moment ago, and it had just been shattered. That's impossible. How can she have killed that many? Principal Wu sputtered, expression completely blank. Ha ha ha, old Wu. I told you my students were exceptional. You wouldn't listen, would you? Well, now you know. Zhao Deli could barely contain himself. Lu Jinghong's result had made him look very good indeed. Ah, my father just had a baby, I should go. My sow is giving birth today, I need to get back. I started my period. Excuse me. None of the other principals could stay after that. They fled in every direction, each with a flimsier excuse than the last. Ha ha ha. Gentlemen, we're actually in the middle of planning a celebration for Miss Lu getting into the Imperial Capital Academy. Don't forget to come. At that, the departing principals found another gear entirely. Once they were gone, Zhao Deli rushed straight to Lu Jinghong's side, brimming with helpfulness. Miss Lu, is there anything I can do for you? You only have to say the word. Lu Jinghong thought for a moment and spoke. Principal, is there anyone in Yuelin's other schools who goes by the name Father? Zhao Deli was bewildered. Father? What an odd name. I've never heard of anyone with that name, and I'm quite certain none of the other schools have anyone by that title either. The schools in Qingyue had a competitive relationship with each other. The principals were generally very well acquainted with each other's students. Zhao Deli in particular could recall the names of students across every school, so he answered immediately when Lu Jinghong asked. Lu Jinghong's brow furrowed slightly. How is that possible? Only students from Yuelin's high schools were allowed into this realm. Father couldn't be an outsider. Seeing her brow crease, Zhao Deli asked with some curiosity, Miss Lu, why would you be asking about something like that? Lu Jinghong shook her head. It's nothing. She had no intention of letting anyone know she had been completely outclassed by someone who called themselves father. That was a matter of pride. Zhao Deli let it go. Students continued drifting out of the realm. Most had already departed, but Lu Jinghong stayed. She intended to wait. She wanted to see if father would emerge. Every candidate who came out registered their kill count. The numbers ranged from 40 or 50 at the low end to about 100 at the top. Very few exceeded 200. Qingyue High, Linjiang, Spirit Beast kills, 236. That announcement drew attention. Isn't that Linjiang one of Qingyue High's 4 great geniuses? Over 200 kills. Reputation well deserved. Linjiang was in great spirits hearing the buzz. His stride took on an extra inch of swagger as he made his way back to his school's area. He found the principal, and Zhao Deli said mildly, not bad, keep working. Compared to his attitude toward Lu Jinghong, that was all Lin Jiang was going to get. The sky was darkening toward evening. The realm had less than half an hour left before it closed. The stream of returning students was slowing. The other schools had already begun packing up to leave. Lu Jinghong was still waiting for the mysterious person called Father to appear. But as the closing time drew near, there was still no sign of them. Then Zhang Yurong came hurrying over, her face drawn with worry. Principal, Miss Lu, have either of you seen Li Moran? Zhao Deli looked up. Ayo, Teacher Zhang, what's the rush? Zhang Yurong said quietly. Li Moran has been inside the realm for 2 full days. With his talent being what it is and him not coming out, I'm getting worried. Zhao Deli's brow furrowed. He had genuinely cared about Li Moran as a student once, but fate had other plans, and the boy had awakened with F-rank talent. It was said Teacher Jiang and Li Moran were close, that she could almost serve as his guardian. Her concern was natural. Lu Jinghong said with a trace of confusion, I saw him in the deep zone. He was still alive at the time. As for now, I couldn't say. Zhang Yurong's face went white. You said the deep zone? Even Zhao Deli looked alarmed. Why on earth would an F-rank Tamer go into the deep zone? Was he trying to die? The creatures in the deep zone were terrifying at every level. If even Lu Jinghong had nearly come to grief there, Li Moran stood no chance. Less than 3 minutes remained before the realm closed. Then came a voice. Zhao Deli said quietly, Teacher Zhang, the realm is about to close. If Li Moran still hasn't come out, then I'm afraid he didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. The implication was clear enough. Li Moran was probably dead inside. Nothing to be done. Zhang Yurong's face went even paler. Her heart was hammering so hard, it was nearly difficult to breathe. Lu Jinghong's brow creased too. Could the once brilliant genius have actually died in there? Time's up. The realm is closing. The official's voice rang out. The realm closed. And in the same moment, you stepped out. Then a familiar voice called out, Moran! You looked up. Zhang Yurong, a look of pure relief breaking across her face. Seeing her, you smiled. She ran straight to you and grabbed your hands, her expression still shaken. Thank goodness, Moran. You made it out. You were in there so long, I thought something had happened to you. She bit her lip. Her eyes were red. Seeing her like that, something in your chest tightened. I'm sorry for making you worry. It's all right, as long as you're safe. Zhang Yurong let out a long breath. In the moment the realm closed, she had been so frightened she had nearly fainted. Lu Jinghong glanced at you, a flicker of puzzlement in her eyes. That you had come out entirely unharmed was beyond what she'd expected. But what puzzled her more was that Father had still not appeared. Principal Zhao Deli walked over with a neutral expression. Mr. Li Moran, since you're out, go and register your results. You nodded and walked over to the officials. Your results were announced. A moment later. Qingyue High, Li Moran. Spirit Beast kills 1368. When the number was read out, the whole area went dead silent. Zhao Deli said, in something barely above a whisper. Surely there's been a counting error? The official said flatly. Our formation seals have been specially reinforced. There are no counting errors. He had also been stunned when he saw the number, and had checked it multiple times. However many ways he had verified it, the count was correct. Lu Jinghong cried out, That's impossible. How could an F-rank Tamer kill that many? You glanced at her and said evenly, for 3 years, even though you couldn't accept being beneath me, you at least had the courage to try and keep up. How is it that now you can't even accept my results? Lu Jinghong's eyes went wide. In that moment, she felt as though she were looking at that figure again, the genius who had stood above her for 3 unbroken years. Zhao Deli was equally stunned. Mr. Li Moran, how did you manage this? An F-rank Tamer simply cannot produce results like these. Even Jiang Yurong was caught between shock and delight. You had already prepared your answer. You said carefully, Principal, how do you know I only awakened 1 F-rank talent? What do you mean? Are you saying you have a dual talent? Li Moran nodded. More than a dual talent. A chain talent. My second talent, in combination with my first, produces a power that far surpasses even an SSS rank talent. At that, Zhao Deli couldn't hold back any longer. He burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha. Heaven smiles and Qingyue high. A chain talent. Just hearing those 4 words made him giddy with joy. It was even more extraordinary than a dual talent. A dual talent at best produced a 1 + 1 = 2 effect. A chain talent produced 1 + 1 = 11. Throughout recorded history, every genius who had ever awakened a chain talent had been a figure who shook their entire era. Jiang Yurong's face lit up too. Moran, you really awakened a chain talent? You nodded. Of course. How else would I have gotten results like these? Moran, that's incredible! Jiang Yurong was even more excited than you were. She had been so afraid that awakening an F-rank talent would send you into despair and self-destruction. She hadn't expected the story to turn around so completely. Zhao Deli rushed over, all but falling over himself to help. Mr. Li Moran, is there anything I can do for you? Oh, Teacher Jiang, you've done something exceptional by teaching this student. I'm designating you this year's Outstanding Educator Award. Your bonus is confirmed, and your performance bonus doubles. And Mr. Li Moran, the National Annual Scholarship and Academic Grants, all of them. Principal's decision, they go to you. He knew how close Jiang Yurong and you were, so he had played that card deliberately. And naturally, the rewards for you yourself couldn't be overlooked either. Jiang Yurong thanked him warmly. You accepted the goodwill without complaint. Jiang Yurong's salary had never been high. She had even fallen behind on rent for your sake. With these rewards, she would at least be more comfortable. After exchanging a few more pleasantries with the principal, you said directly, all right, Principal, I'm heading home. Zhao Deli nodded eagerly. Of course, off you go. Oh, Mr. Li Moran, don't forget the exam tomorrow. If you need anything at all, I can personally come to pick you up. This principal had a gift for making himself agreeable. You declined quickly. That's all right. Sister Ru will get me. You had no desire to stay here any longer. You said your goodbyes to the principal and turned to Jiang Yurong. Sister Ru, let's go. There wasn't much to eat in there for 2 days. I'm nearly starving. Jiang Yurong's eyes crinkled with her smile. Yes, let's go. I'll cook for you when we're home. The 2 of you turned to leave. Then Lu Jinghong stepped directly into your path, eyebrows arched, expression glacial. You frowned. Why are you blocking my way, Lu Jinghong? Lu Jinghong bit her lip. Her expression carried an unmistakable trace of grievance. She said, Li Moran, are you the one who called himself father? You looked at her with open contempt. What father? What kind of ridiculous name is that? I don't know any such person. Although, if you want to call me that, I might just answer. Lu Jinghong's composure snapped. She had never once in her life been spoken to like that. It has to be Li Moran. It can only be Li Moran. She ground her teeth. You're still not admitting it? Who else could the person who saved me in the deep zone possibly be? You shook your head again. I don't recall the 2 of us meeting. Are you sure you haven't been thinking about me so much that you're seeing things? Sister Ru, let's go. You took Jiang Yurong's hand and walked away. Watching your retreating figure, Lu Jinghong found it more and more familiar, and more infuriating. The moment the name father surfaced in her mind, she had a sinking feeling she had been played. The grievance deepened, and was quickly replaced by sheer refusal to accept it. Watching you disappear into the distance, Lu Jinghong said through gritted teeth, you won't admit it. Fine. Li Moran, do you really think you can avoid me forever? When I expose you, let's see how long you can keep performing. And when that day comes, I will defeat you. She was already picking a fight with this in her own head. She turned and walked away, each step heavy. Zhao Deli watched the whole scene with amused interest. Youth, what a thing. He turned to leave himself, and walked face first into someone, earning himself a sharp pain and a yelp. Which young fool doesn't look where he's going? Whatever happened to respecting your elders? Zhao Deli pressed a hand to his nose and blinked the tears away. When he finally got a clear look at who had walked into him, he recognized the face at once. Is that Mr. Zhou? What brings you here? The man was Zhou Wenjiang, the man behind the Zhou Corporation. Principal Zhao, why has my son Zhou Yancheng still not come out? At that question, Zhao Deli's stomach dropped. Zhou Yancheng hadn't come out. How could that be? The realm had closed. Everyone who was going to come out had come out. Zhao Deli searched his memory carefully and realized he genuinely had not seen Zhou Yancheng anywhere. Zhou Wenjiang saw Zhao Deli's expression and his face turned to stone. Principal Zhao, I entrusted my son to your school. I've made substantial investments here. This is how you repay me? Zhao Deli said quickly. Mr. Zhou, please stay calm. There must be a technical issue. Zhou Yancheng may have been accidentally trapped inside. I'll contact the governor's office immediately to have the realm reopened and send people in to find him. It wasn't unprecedented for a student to get trapped, or even to die, in a beginner realm. But those cases typically involved ordinary students with poor talent. Deaths like that were, in a grim sense, not unusual. Even when he had learned you were going into the realm, Zhao Deli had already steeled himself for the possibility that you might not come back. And yet here you were, walking out unscathed, while Zhou Yancheng had gone missing. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Zhou Wenjiang said coldly. Principal Zhao, I expect my son Yancheng returned to me safe and whole before tomorrow, if anything happens to him that prevents him from sitting the Grand Beast examination. The Zhou Corporation's investment in Qingyu High is finished. He hadn't entertained the idea that Zhou Yancheng might actually be dead. He had complete confidence in his son. S-rank beast talent paired with a top-tier beast in the heaven-burning flame tiger. With that combination, there was no way anything could go wrong in the realm. He had also warned Zhou Yancheng repeatedly not to enter the deep zone. Zhou Wenjiang assumed there had been a problem with the transfer token, that it had malfunctioned, and left Zhou Yancheng unable to exit. That had happened before. Zhao Deli agreed immediately and hurried off to the governor's office. The next morning, at Qingyue High, students had already gathered in the plaza. Today was the day of the Grand Beast examination, the day that would determine the futures of countless new tamers. The anticipation had been building for days. On any ordinary year, Principal Zhao Deli would have come out and delivered an encouraging speech. Today, strangely, he was nowhere to be seen. The head of teaching stepped forward. Everyone. The principal has been detained. He's still at the governor's office. Today's examination will be conducted under my supervision. A fleet of coaches was already lined up outside. Under the head of teaching's lead, students boarded by class in order. On the way there, whispers passed around. Where did the principal get to? He didn't even come on exam day. No idea. Maybe he's on a blind date. The speculation lasted only a little while. About 15 minutes later, they arrived at the exam grounds. An enormous plaza stretched before them, ringed by countless towering stone pillars. Dozens at least. A pavilion stood not far off. From its upper level, every part of the exam floor could be observed. A voice rang out. Candidates, my name is Zhou Zheng, and I am the chief examiner for today's examination. I will now announce the rules. No one is to speak. Anyone who violates this will be disqualified. The words had barely landed before someone muttered in disbelief. No speaking? What kind of rule is that? The moment he finished, one of the stone pillars directed a beam of light directly at him. The cold announcement followed. This candidate has violated the rules and will be disqualified from the Grand Beast examination. He was transferred out of the grounds on the spot. Everyone stared in stunned silence. Several people clapped both hands firmly over their own mouths, terrified of accidentally saying a word. After the interruption, Zhou Zheng continued announcing the rules. The examination consists of 3 stages. Stage 1, Comprehensive Ability Assessment. All candidates will undergo comprehensive evaluations, including beast tier, bloodline strength, combat level, theoretical knowledge, and others. 10 assessments in total, 30 points each. Maximum score, 150 points. Stage 2, Field Combat Assessment. All candidates will be randomly transported to an outdoor zone for a 3-day wilderness survival exercise. Every candidate's performance will be monitored and scored. Maximum score for this stage, 300 points. Stage 3, Trial Tower. The trial tower will descend. All candidates will enter the tower and undergo trials, scored by performance. During this stage, recruitment representatives from the 10 great academies will be present, observing every candidate in real time. Maximum score, 300 points. At the conclusion of all 3 stages, total scores will be calculated and rankings finalized to determine this year's provincial top scorer. In order to proceed to Stage 2, candidates must pass every component of Stage 1 and achieve a minimum total score of 120. In order to proceed to Stage 3, candidates must complete Stage 2 successfully and achieve a minimum total score of 240. The rules were clear. Everyone had heard them. All candidates, please line up and enter the light columns to begin the examination. Lines formed across the plaza. Each candidate stepped before a light column. A beam of light descended, and they were absorbed into it. Before long, it was your turn. The interior of the light column was an unusual space. Just you alone, everything around it blank and white. A scanning light swept over you, and your information appeared. Candidate name, Lee Moran. Exam registration number 02160175280. Beast talent, Eldritch, F rank. Registered beast, Cthulhu. In the pavilion overlooking the exam floor, a white-robed elder kept his gaze moving steadily across the light columns below. He was reviewing each candidate's situation. This was Zhou Zheng, the chief examiner. As the light columns pulsed, several middle-aged men appeared behind him, fellow examiners there to assist. One of them spoke. Mr. Zhou, all students have entered the assessment spaces. Zhou Zheng gave a single nod. Understood. Shortly after, a cascade of information appeared before the examiners. Yours was at the very top. This is the top scorer from this year's simulation exam? How does he have F-rank talent? His principal mentioned he may have awakened a chain talent. A chain talent? That's extraordinary. Yulin is about to produce another exceptional talent this year. His beast is unusual. I've never heard of it. Probably connected to his chain talent. I heard his chain talent allows beasts to mutate. The examiners exchanged notes, clearly intrigued by you. Zhou Zheng said, Alright, begin with the Spirit Power Assessment. Let's see what Lee Moran's Spirit Power Index comes out to. The assessment command was issued. A testing monolith appeared in the assessment space. Every candidate began. Candidate Zhao He, Talent Grade B, Spirit Power Index 1276. Candidate Lu Minmin, Talent Grade C, Spirit Power Index 1003. Candidate He Guo Zheng, Talent Grade S, Spirit Power Index 2038. The Spirit Power Indexes appeared before the examiners one by one. A tamer's Spirit Power Index was tied to the strength of their beast. Generally, once a beast entered the growth stage, the tamer's index would exceed 1000. If it didn't, the talent was too poor or the beast quality too low. The exam had benchmarks accordingly. Any candidate whose index fell below 1000 would fail this component. Meanwhile, Lu Jinghong placed her hand on the monolith with full confidence. Candidate Lu Jinghong, talent grade SS, Spirit Power Index 4216. Over 4,000. That's a new record by quite a margin, isn't it? It is. The previous record was set 10 years ago by a candidate with SS rank talent, and it barely broke 3,000. Remarkable. Lu Jinghong had the examiners genuinely impressed. Then one reading made them all go still. Candidate Li Moran, talent grade F, Spirit Power Index 12,678. The examiners couldn't believe what they were seeing. An index over 10,000. That was the range for a mature stage beast. This isn't possible. Over 10,000. Nothing like it had ever appeared in recorded history. Could the monolith be broken? Zhou Zheng's brow furrowed deeply. He began checking immediately. A moment later, he let out a breath. It is broken. I'll swap it out. Have him test again. At that, the examiners visibly relaxed. That makes more sense. How could anyone have an index that high? So it was just a broken monolith. Mystery solved. Back in the assessment space, you had barely finished when the request for a retest came through. You were completely confused, but did it again anyway. Candidate Li Moran, talent grade F, Spirit Power Index 8,762. The examiners stopped being able to sit still. They stared at the result, at a total loss. Zhou Zheng checked the monolith again. Everything was in perfect working order. The equipment was fine. The reading was real. How did he do that? A Spirit Power Index of 18,000 has never occurred in history. Not even 8,000 has ever occurred. The examiners turned to Zhou Zheng. Mr. Zhou, what do we do? Zhou Zheng sighed. Give him full marks on this component. Record it and move on. Continue with the remaining assessments. No one had a better suggestion. They followed his lead and announced the next component. Beast Bloodline Assessment. All candidates, please summon your beasts. The instruction went out. Candidates summoned their beasts throughout the assessment spaces. You brought out Cthulhu. A scanning beam fell across it. Beast name, Cthulhu. Bloodline, Mythic. After reading Cthulhu's full set of indicators, the examiners were even more shaken than before. Mythic Bloodline. Am I reading this right? My god. Mythic Bloodline beast number fewer than 100 in the entire country. Zhou Zheng's sharp eyes caught something. Wait, the bloodline reads as suspect. It may be even higher than Mythic. The examiners looked at each other and said nothing. Mythic Bloodline. Full marks on this component naturally. Zhou Zheng pressed down his astonishment and continued. Let's check his strength rating. More of Cthulhu's data appeared before the examiners. Cthulhu strength rating, strength SSS+, agility SS+, mental exceeds measurable limits, cannot be assessed, constitution exceeds measurable limits, cannot be assessed, skills SS+, overall rating SS+. Every single indicator had broken the upper limit. The assessment space's rating system had a ceiling, the theoretical maximum of a mature stage beast in peak condition. Reaching that ceiling earned an SSS rating. But several of Cthulhu's indicators had surpassed even the theoretical maximum, hence the plus signs. Not only that, and its mental and constitution stats had simply exceeded the range the space could measure at all. This beast is extraordinary. Now I understand how Li Moran's Spirit Power Index reached 18,000. His beast is simply outrageous. Strength and agility both hitting the measurement ceiling, mental and constitution both beyond it. Impossible to assess. None of them had ever seen anything like this. The examiners felt the foundations of their entire understanding shifting under Li Moran's results. The entire worldview began to come unhinged. Zhou Zheng breathed in and out slowly for several seconds before he came back to himself. He said, record the scores, give him full marks. Let's see his combat capability. The assessment space shifted. A wooden training dummy appeared before each candidate. Please use your beast's most powerful skill to strike the dummy. Your most powerful skill. Cthulhu had only 3 skills. The strongest was Tentacle Strike. You gave the order immediately. There was a sharp crack. A tentacle coiled around the dummy and gave it a single gentle squeeze. The dummy crumbled to powder. You stared at the result with a slightly helpless expression. Why did it just fall apart? This dummy is awfully fragile. You had no idea that the examiners were even more stunned than you were. That dummy was built to withstand a full-strength blow from a mature stage beast. He just destroyed it. His beast's strength rating has already blown past the measurement limits. Breaking the dummy actually seems pretty normal for him. Truly extraordinary. The man's practically a freak of nature. After a round of discussion, your score was recorded. Full marks again. Zhou Zheng moved on, announcing the next assessment. The comprehensive ability test covered many areas. Affection levels between Tamer and Beast, combat coordination, emergency response. All of it was tested in turn. Needless to say, full marks across the board. Time continued to pass. As one assessment followed another, the space shifted again. A fierce-looking spirit beast appeared before each candidate. The one you faced was a tiger covered in embedded blades. When enraged, the blades across its body seemed to gleam. A terrifying sight. You recognized it immediately. A blade-edged savage tiger. Word was these things appeared at level 20 at the absolute minimum. Final assessment, emergency response capability. All candidates by any means necessary, please survive 3 minutes under the blade-edged savage tiger's attack. Candidates across the space braced themselves. The blade-edged savage tiger in front of you was obviously something special, selected specifically, and far stronger than anything most of these candidates' beasts could handle. This component was designed to test how a tamer responded when facing a crisis that couldn't be won. You moved without hesitation. A sharp sound, Cthulhu's tentacle erupted like lightning and punched clean through the blade-edged savage tiger. The tiger never even launched its attack. It was shredded before it had the chance. The examiners watched, frozen. He killed the blade-edged savage tiger, the one assigned to him. was level 25. Mr. Zhou, how do we score this? Zhou Zhang said helplessly. Full marks. Testing his emergency response capability is clearly not possible. The other examiners looked equally resigned. Nothing else to do, so it's the theory exam next, the last component. Right, I imagine he'll get full marks on that too. Full marks? One examiner wasn't entirely convinced. The theory exam demanded deep pre-study knowledge from candidates. A perfect score was rare under any circumstances. Zhou Zhang shook his head. You don't know. This student placed first in every theory exam throughout his 3 years of high school. Always full marks. Don't let how easily everything else has gone fool you. Theory is actually his strongest suit. The examiners were shocked, even more impressed. A candidate with this level of raw power and this depth of theoretical knowledge was almost unheard of. It seemed the Imperial Capital Academy was gaining a new member this year. The Imperial Capital Academy? I think he's going to be this year's national top scorer.